So, today's question of the day is, why do African millennials hate their African parents? Why do millennials, why are they starting to resent their African parents? I want you to sit back because today I am going to go in on the African parents. This is my chance, to speak from years and years of experience. Um, First of all, I want to say, look, shout out to my parents. They've been amazing to me. I have great parents. So shout out to my mom and dad. But this is my observation, from my friends, being around so many of my African friends, how they've been treated, and staying in Ghana, going outside, and seeing how African parents have been to their kids. And I am not surprised the kids are starting to resent them. It's the millennials are now. You go all over TikTok and you see the kids complaining about the culture of how they were raised. And like I said, I mean, I've experienced some firsthand, but it wasn't too bad. I can't really speak um, too much into what other people's have been in, but I've observed some, and today I'll be sharing with you why so many African kids are starting to hate their parents. The truth is, a lot of African parents, they think they're always right. They have this belief that whatever they say is final, right? And for about 60 years now, for about 70 years now, it's always been that when the elder speaks, no one is supposed to say anything, right? This is being in an African household, even in the African communities. There's this thing where when the elder speaks, the youngest are not supposed to be, saying anything. And for years and years and years, we've had to endure this. You've had kids enduring this. You go to family meetings, and if you're a kid, you don't speak, even if you have something to share. And this is even broader than what it is, and this is what has bred a lot of corruption in Africa, because you have people in parliament and they are not being challenged because they only let the 60-year-olds speak. So I'm glad the millennials are starting to raise this question. It's a terrible tactic for our parents to have. It's most of them use this as a fear tactic. They want to instill fear into their kids. They normally they think that when they do that, their kids will be listening to them when they grow up. But like I said, it actually breeds resentment, and that's why you are seeing a lot of African kids come out and share their opinion on what has happened to them. So to be honest, a lot of African parents, they are very rude. They are very rude. They don't take opinions of their kids. Like I said, they think what they say is final, and you shouldn't have an opinion. But that's not right. When you look at the white folks, I'm not saying they are better than Africans or anything like that, but being around them and seeing how they raise their kids, they let the kids have voices. A lot of African kids are very depressed because they haven't been allowed to share their opinion. And like I said, it was just it was a long time coming. I'm not surprised this is happening. I'm not surprised a lot of kids are sharing their opinions and going out and saying what they have to say now. These African parents, they never apologize, even if they are wrong. You can literally tell them what is affecting you, but they would never apologize. Like growing up in an African household is like a nightmare. You know, some of these kids are beating around, because they think that. I do understand, like, even the Bible says, spare the rod and spare the child. But sometimes these African parents, they take it too far. They take it too far. So, why these African millennials are hating their parents? And number one, I want to say that some of these parents are very rude. You know, number two, they never apologize, even if they are wrong. They go around beating around the bush. You know, what bothers me the most is that when you live in the West, you see our parents go to do their jobs and they act very different, right, around these white folks. And then they come home and they act like so mean to their kids. Like, if you get what I'm saying, a lot of kids can attest to this. Like, they go to their jobs, they do whatever they are told to do. They come home and then they take everything out on their kids. It's not fair at all. It's very not fair. Um, most of our parents are very toxic, man. Like, they are very, very toxic. Um, you have kids growing up with fear because of what mom and dad is saying. I'll give you an example, right? For a lot of African women, um, there's this thing where they are told to not have boyfriends, right? From age maybe 10 to 20. But then the same parents expect them to be married by 25. Now, does that make sense? If these kids are not supposed to have boyfriends from the age of 10 to 20, how do you expect them to get married at 25? Like, you see the toxicity in this? Like, I wish moving forward our parents can do better. I wish they can learn from other cultures. But like I said, it's been a cultural thing, and it needs to be changed. This has been going on for years, about 60 years, like, where we are seeing this happen in politics. This is a broader issue that I'm bringing up about. This is happening. This is why corruption is so much in Africa, because the youth are not allowed to speak. I'll give you an example. The finance minister in Ghana just died, and I was watching the process of electing the next finance minister. And I was looking at the room, and there was not a single kid in there. They only had people about 50, 60-year-olds making decisions for the whole country. For me, that is terrible. If you want to make a decision for the country, at least you gotta have some students, right? You gotta have some kids from Prempeh College or Pokuwari, and all of them sitting in there making those decisions. You can't have the chiefs, the older folks, right? But this is what happens in Africa. There's this thing where the elders are always right, so they don't even let the young kids speak, which breeds this entitlement. So now I'm glad that these kids are starting to speak up. I'm glad that these kids are starting to speak up. And to be honest, these African parents, they kind of like look strong on the outside, but most of them are hurting inside, if you know what I mean. A lot of them are hurting inside, and they don't even know how to express it. Like, go to therapy or something. Like, don't take it out on your kids. They go to work, they get mishandled. Not all of them, but most of the time they get mishandled. They do what they are told to do, and then they come home and they take it out on their kids. Like, look, I'm a kid myself, right? Normally, like I said, the respect, we are always going to give it to our parents. But these issues need to be discussed. These are very important issues, and they need to be discussed. Our African parents need to change the way they parent kids, because it's going to breed a lot of resentments. You have a lot of kids that are grading so many things, but there's this option where some of these Africans are growing up, and they only have to pick from being a lawyer or a doctor. There's no in and out. It's either you become a lawyer or a doctor. Dude, there are so many people that are getting paid doing what they love, but in so many African households, these kids don't have a lot of options. See, that school, 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 school. If you have a passion, forget about it. That is not the right way to raise your kids. I'll use myself as an example. Like I said, don't get me wrong, man. I love my parents. They give me the world. But honestly, I don't even remember the last time I hugged my dad, and it's not his fault. It's just how we were brought up. And I think a lot of African kids attest to this as well. You know, so many kids are not loved properly. They are verbally abused. They are mentally abused. They haven't been shown the love that they need to be shown. You know, a lot African parents sometimes cannot be compassionate. Sometimes it takes more than physical aspect of love. You need to show emotions, and so many African kids don't get that at home. They are not loved right. They are not hugged on. They are not loved on. I can't, you know, comment in the like leave your comment in the comment section, and I promise you there will be a lot of African kids saying that they haven't even gotten a chance to hug their parents. Now, don't get me wrong, it's changing. A lot of things are changing now, and it can only change if we speak about it like we are doing now. So we are not saying that we hate our parents, because at the end of the day, if you look at other cultures, African kids are thriving. You have Nigerians becoming the most educated immigrant group in the United States, and this can all be attested to good parenting. They are great in some aspects. My point is, it takes more than physical. It takes more than education. It takes more than other aspects. This case needs emotional support, right? So that is all we are asking these African parents. They should work on the emotional aspect more. They should show more love. They should tell their kids they love them more. Now go be a doctor, go be a lawyer. It's a lot. But like I said, I can't always speak on the negative. I would like to also share some light on them. African parents are doing amazing, and I am in what I am today because of my parents. I took my education seriously. They guided me into taking it seriously, right? So I have the degrees. I'm able to do whatever I want, but we still need to let them know in what areas we can grow, what areas we can continue to benefit. Like I said, you go to the United States, man, Africans are doing well. They are thriving, and it's a testament to great parenting. But great parenting takes a lot more. And as the world is moving forward, as the world is changing, we would like to see a lot more change from our African parents. A lot more emotional support, a lot more love, a lot more we loves you, a lot more flower givings, instead of a lot more beatings. That's all we are saying. But shout out to them, man. They've done amazing with the little that they've had. As we bash them, we also need to praise them. Some of them don't even speak English, and then they go out there to other countries and make it for us. So yes, there are negatives, but there are also positives. But like I said, depression, the mental aspect of life is very important. And once the mental aspect is taken care of, I think everything is way much easier. We rather drop the degrees than be supported emotionally. That's what we are saying. We rather drop the love. We rather drop, the money they spent on us than to have than to have the love from our parents. We want to hear more "I love you," more congratulations, right? Instead of being pushed all the time. So I understand the sentiments. I understand the frustration from all these African kids all over the world, and I hope all the African parents watching this use this opportunity to add to the arsenal. Not only focusing on the physical aspect, but more so focusing on the emotional support. Taking your kids to soccer games, taking your kids to experiment. Let them go out there and try so many things, man. Like football players are making a lot of money. NFL players are making. The world is different. You don't only make it from being a lawyer. You don't only make it from being a doctor. So shout out to African parents. Like I said, they are doing amazing, but we need to let them know that there's more to life than degrees. Give your kids the chance to be themselves. Show them more love. Show them more compassion. I will see you guys in the next one.